Let me ask you something, and I want you to think about this honestly. Have you been eating less than you used to? Moving more than your joints will comfortably allow? And yet, that belly fat is still there, maybe even growing. If that sounds familiar, I need you to hear this. You are not failing. Your body is. Not because it's broken, but because after 60, the rules completely change. And most diets out there were never written for you. I'm Dr. Leonid Kim, and on this channel, Senior Health Review, we talk about what actually works for people over 60, based on real science, not trends designed for 25-year-olds. Today, I'm going to give you a complete 7-day anti-inflammatory eating plan that directly targets the root cause of stubborn belly fat in people our age. I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. No guesswork, no starvation, no ingredients you can't find at your regular grocery store. Stay with me until the end, because in the last section, I'm going to tell you exactly what to expect, day by day, so you're not caught off guard. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. I put out practical health content every week, made specifically for people 60 and older. All right, let's get into it. Here's the first thing I want you to understand. Belly fat after 60 is not a calorie problem. It's a hormone and inflammation problem. Let me explain what I mean. When we were younger, 30s, 40s, even early 50s, our hormones did a lot of heavy lifting when it came to body composition. Estrogen in women and testosterone in men helped keep fat distributed more evenly. Cortisol, our stress hormone, was kept in check. Metabolism was more forgiving. After 60, that landscape shifts dramatically. Estrogen and testosterone drop significantly. Cortisol, triggered by stress, poor sleep, and yes, even by restrictive dieting, stays elevated longer. And when cortisol is chronically high, your body's favorite place to store fat is right around the midsection. But here's where it gets important, and what most people don't realize. The fat that builds up deep in your belly, called visceral fat, is not the same as the fat you might pinch on your arms or hips. Visceral fat wraps around your internal organs, your liver, your intestines, your kidneys. It's metabolically active, meaning it doesn't just sit there. It actually produces and releases inflammatory compounds into your bloodstream. Think of it like this. That belly fat is essentially a little inflammation factory running 24 hours a day inside your body. And here's the vicious cycle that traps so many people over 60. Visceral fat causes inflammation, and chronic inflammation signals your body to store more visceral fat. So the more belly fat you accumulate, the harder your body works to create more of it. This is why the eat less, exercise more advice feels like running on a treadmill that's tilted downhill. You're working against a biological loop. The way to break that loop is not to starve yourself or push through an hour of cardio every day. The way to break it is to reduce the inflammation first. When you do that, your body stops getting the signal to hoard belly fat, and it starts releasing it. That's exactly what this 7-day plan is designed to do. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with medical jargon, but I do want to give you enough science so you understand why this works. Because when you understand the why, you're much more likely to stick with it. Your doctor may have mentioned something called inflammatory markers, things like CRP, which stands for C-reactive protein, or interleukin-6. These are substances your immune system releases when it's fighting something. In the short term, inflammation is actually useful. It's how your body heals a cut or fights off a cold. The problem is chronic, low-grade inflammation, the kind that runs in the background, month after month, year after year, often without any obvious symptoms. This type of inflammation is now linked to weight gain, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, and joint pain. Sound familiar? For many people over 60, these are exactly the issues they're already managing. Here's the good news. Your diet has enormous power over your inflammation levels. Certain foods, and I'll get to the specific ones to avoid in a few minutes, actively trigger your immune system to release those inflammatory compounds. And other foods actively suppress that inflammatory response. This isn't fringe science. The Predimed trial, one of the largest nutritional studies ever conducted, involving nearly 7,500 adults, found that following an anti-inflammatory Mediterranean-style diet significantly reduced cardiovascular events, improved metabolic markers, and was associated with lower levels of inflammatory proteins in the bloodstream. Three main mechanisms are at work. First, anti-inflammatory foods are rich in antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals, the unstable molecules that damage cells and trigger inflammatory responses. Second, they contain omega-3 fatty acids, which directly compete with the omega-6 fatty acids found in processed foods. Omega-6s in excess fuel inflammation. Omega-3s put out the fire. Third, they support a healthy gut microbiome. Roughly 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. When your gut bacteria are balanced, inflammation throughout your entire body decreases. All right, enough science. Let's talk food. I want you to think of this week as a reset. You're not going on a diet. You're giving your body 7 days of clean fuel so it can quiet down the inflammatory signals and start doing what it's supposed to do. Each day has a theme, a spotlight food, and simple meal ideas you can actually pull off. Let's walk through it. Day 1. Reset and eliminate. Spotlight foods. Turmeric plus ginger. Day 1 is about clearing the runway. You're removing the most inflammatory foods from your kitchen and your meals and replacing them with warm, healing staples. Breakfast. Warm oatmeal made with almond milk or low-fat dairy, topped with a handful of blueberries and a teaspoon of ground turmeric stirred in. Add a pinch of black pepper. This is important because black pepper contains piperine, which increases your body's absorption of turmeric's active compound by up to 2,000%. Lunch. A large spinach salad with cucumber, cherry tomatoes, chickpeas, and a dressing made from olive oil, lemon juice, and freshly grated ginger. Dinner. Baked chicken thigh, skin removed, with roasted sweet potatoes and steamed broccoli. Season with turmeric, garlic, and a drizzle of olive oil. Dr. Kim's note: don't worry about making everything perfect today. The goal of day 1 is simply to eliminate the worst offenders and get your first clean day under your belt. Day 2. Omega-3 loading. Spotlight food. Wild-caught salmon. Today we flood the system with anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. Breakfast. 2 scrambled eggs. Eggs are fine, despite what you may have heard, with smoked salmon on the side and a slice of whole grain toast. Lunch. A salmon and avocado bowl over brown rice. Add sliced cucumber, a squeeze of lemon, and a light drizzle of low-sodium soy sauce or coconut aminos. Dinner. Baked wild-caught salmon fillet with a side of roasted asparagus and a small baked potato. Salmon twice in one day might sound like a lot, but you're loading up on those omega-3s intentionally this week. Dr. Kim's note: can't afford fresh salmon every day? Canned wild-caught salmon is an excellent, affordable alternative. It has the same omega-3 profile. Look for it in the tuna aisle. Day 3. Gut health focus. Spotlight foods, fermented foods, kefir, sauerkraut, plain yogurt. Remember, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. Today, we feed the good bacteria. Breakfast. Plain Greek yogurt, no added sugar, with walnuts, a drizzle of raw honey, and sliced banana. Lunch. Turkey or tuna wrap in a whole grain tortilla with sauerkraut, shredded carrots, and spinach. The sauerkraut is the key. It's loaded with beneficial probiotics. Dinner. Lentil soup made with turmeric, cumin, diced tomatoes, and spinach. Lentils are a prebiotic food. They feed the good bacteria you're building up with your fermented foods. Dr. Kim's note: if you've never eaten sauerkraut, start small. A couple of tablespoons at lunch is plenty. Some people experience mild bloating as their gut microbiome adjusts. That's normal, and it passes quickly. Day 4. Antioxidant surge. Spotlight foods. Berries plus dark leafy greens. Today, we go deep on antioxidants, the compounds that neutralize free radicals and reduce oxidative stress throughout the body. Breakfast. A smoothie made with a large handful of mixed berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, plus a handful of fresh baby spinach, half a banana, and unsweetened almond milk. If you're worried about the spinach, you won't taste it, I promise. Lunch. A kale and quinoa salad with roasted beets, walnuts, dried cranberries, unsweetened, and olive oil dressing. Beets are a powerhouse antioxidant food that most people overlook entirely. Dinner. Stir-fried chicken with bok choy, red bell pepper, garlic, and ginger over brown rice. Use a small amount of sesame oil for flavor. Dr. Kim's note: if fresh berries aren't available or are too expensive, frozen berries work just as well for the antioxidant content. In many cases, they're actually more nutrient-dense because they're frozen at peak ripeness. Day 5. Healthy Fats Day. Spotlight foods. Avocado plus extra virgin olive oil. I want to say something clearly here, because I know many of you grew up being told fat is the enemy. Healthy fats do not make you fat. They reduce inflammation, support brain function, and help regulate the hormones that control belly fat storage. Breakfast. Avocado toast on whole grain bread with a poached or soft-boiled egg on top. Season with black pepper, red pepper flakes, and a squeeze of lemon. Lunch. Large mixed greens salad with half an avocado, olives, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, canned sardines. Yes, sardines are one of the most anti-inflammatory foods on the planet, dressed generously with extra virgin olive oil and red wine vinegar. Dinner. Roasted salmon with an olive tapenade, olives blended with olive oil and garlic, over a bed of wilted spinach and roasted cherry tomatoes. Dr. Kim's note: extra virgin olive oil is not just a cooking oil. It contains a compound called oleocanthal that acts similarly to ibuprofen in the body, a natural, gentle anti-inflammatory. Use it liberally this week. Day 6. Fiber and prebiotics. Spotlight foods. Oats plus legumes. Today we focus on feeding the gut and slowing digestion, two things that have a direct impact on blood sugar, insulin, and belly fat accumulation. Breakfast. Steel-cut oats cooked with chia seeds, topped with sliced almonds and fresh apple. Steel-cut oats have a lower glycemic index than rolled oats. They raise your blood sugar more slowly, which keeps insulin levels steadier. Lunch. Black bean and vegetable soup with a slice of whole grain bread. Beans are one of the most underrated anti-inflammatory foods for people over 60. High in fiber, high in plant-based protein, and cheap. Dinner. Baked cod or tilapia with a white bean and tomato ragu. White beans are rich in prebiotics, the fiber that specifically feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Dr. Kim's note: if you have digestive sensitivity to beans, start with smaller portions, half a cup, and make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Fiber needs water to do its job. Day 7. Consolidate and sustain. The full circle day. Today is your victory lap, and also your blueprint. You're combining the best elements from the entire week into one complete day that you could realistically eat on any given week going forward. Breakfast: turmeric oatmeal with blueberries and walnuts. Same as day 1, because it's that good, and because you've now earned it. Lunch: large anti-inflammatory salad, mixed greens, chickpeas, avocado, cucumber, roasted beets, walnuts, olive oil, and lemon dressing. Dinner: wild-caught salmon with lentils, steamed broccoli, and a side of plain Greek yogurt with fresh herbs as a cool, probiotic-rich sauce. Dr. Kim's note: look at this plate and remember it. Fatty fish, leafy greens, legumes, fermented food, healthy fat. This is what 1 week of anti-inflammatory eating looks like at its best. And you did it. Now I need to talk about what not to eat this week. I call these the inflammatory 5, and I want to be clear. I'm not telling you to give these up forever. I'm asking you to clear them out for 7 days so your body can reset. Number 1. Vegetable and seed oils. I'm talking about canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil. The kind that comes in big jugs and is found in almost every processed food on the shelf. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. A little omega-6 is fine, but the modern American diet delivers it in massive excess, and that imbalance is one of the primary drivers of systemic inflammation. Switch to extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or small amounts of coconut oil this week. Number 2. Added sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Sugar directly triggers the release of inflammatory cytokines. It also spikes insulin, and chronically elevated insulin tells your body to store fat, especially around the midsection. Read labels this week. Sugar hides in everything: salad dressings, sauces, flavored yogurt, canned soups, and obviously all sweets and sodas. Number 3. Refined white carbohydrates. White bread, white pasta, white rice, crackers, most commercial cereals. These are rapidly converted to sugar in your bloodstream, causing the same insulin spike as sugar itself. Switch to whole grain versions or simply reduce portions. Number 4. Processed meats. Hot dogs, deli meats, sausage, bacon. I know, this one hurts. But processed meats contain nitrates and advanced glycation end products that directly stimulate inflammatory pathways. For just 7 days, stick to clean proteins: chicken, fish, eggs, legumes, and plain cuts of turkey or beef. Number 5. Alcohol. Alcohol disrupts gut bacteria, raises cortisol, interferes with sleep quality, and places stress on the liver, all of which increase inflammation. Even moderate alcohol consumption during this week will blunt your results. Give yourself 7 days off. Your body will thank you. Alright, the meal plan is the engine, but here are 3 things you can add that will turbocharge what you're already doing. Booster tip 1. A gentle eating window. I'm not asking you to do hardcore intermittent fasting, but consider giving your digestive system a 12 to 14 hour rest period overnight. If dinner ends at 7 p.m., try to have your first meal at 7 or 9 a.m. the next day. This extended break reduces insulin levels, gives your gut time to repair itself, and has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers, even without any calorie restriction. This is very manageable for most people, and it layers beautifully on top of the meal plan. Booster tip 2, the anti-inflammatory spice trio every single day. 3 spices. That's it. Turmeric, black pepper, and ginger. Use them together as often as possible. Stir them into oatmeal, add them to soups, rub them onto chicken or fish, blend them into smoothies. Together, these 3 spices have more clinical evidence behind their anti-inflammatory effects than almost any supplement you could buy. They're cheap, they're accessible, and they work. Booster tip 3. Replace one daily drink with green tea or tart cherry juice. If you currently drink soda, flavored coffee drinks, or juice with your meals, swap one of them out. Green tea contains catechins, powerful antioxidant compounds that reduce CRP levels. Tart cherry juice, not regular cherry juice, the tart variety, has been specifically studied for its ability to reduce inflammatory markers and improve sleep quality. And we need to talk briefly about sleep. When you sleep poorly, cortisol rises. When cortisol rises, belly fat increases. Improving sleep is one of the most powerful things you can do for your waistline, and tart cherry juice has actually been shown in clinical trials to meaningfully improve sleep duration and quality in older adults. I want to be completely transparent with you about what this week will feel like because I don't want you to be caught off guard and quit before the results arrive. Days 1 and 2 can actually feel a little rough. If you were regularly consuming sugar, processed foods, and alcohol, your body may push back. You might feel slightly more tired than usual, perhaps a mild headache, or some food cravings. This is not your body telling you something is wrong. It's your body recalibrating. Push through. Days 3 and 4. This is when most people notice a significant reduction in bloating. Your clothes fit differently. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Your sleep may start to improve. Your energy in the morning begins to pick up. These are real, measurable signals that the inflammation is beginning to quiet down. Days 5 through 7, this is when it gets encouraging. The majority of people report feeling lighter, more energized, and genuinely less hungry, because anti-inflammatory foods, especially the high-fiber and high-fat options, are deeply satisfying. Some people notice a meaningful reduction in joint pain or stiffness, which is often inflammatory in origin. As for the number on the scale, a realistic expectation for 1 week is somewhere between 1 and 3 pounds. But let me be honest with you, the scale is the least interesting metric this week. What's more important is that your visceral fat is starting to decrease, your inflammatory markers are improving, and your body is coming out of the cycle that was driving the problem in the first place. This is not a finish line. This is a starting block. Let me bring this all together. Belly fat after 60 is not your fault, and it's not a willpower problem. It is a biology problem, specifically a chronic inflammation problem driven by hormonal shifts, the modern American diet, and a vicious cycle that most diets never address. The anti-inflammatory approach works differently. Instead of forcing your body to shrink through restriction, it removes the inflammatory signals that were telling your body to store fat in the first place. And it does it with real food. Food that actually tastes good, that fills you up, and that supports your health in every other way at the same time. 7 days, that's all I'm asking for. Give your body 7 days of clean, healing fuel. Follow the meal plan, avoid the inflammatory 5, add the booster tips if you can. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which day of the meal plan looks most doable for you? Or which one looks hardest? I read every comment, and your questions help me plan future videos. If this video was helpful, please share it with someone you know who's been struggling with this same issue. You might be giving them exactly the answer they've been looking for. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.